Yo, how's it going? So, just finished up the book of Revelation. Headed to Florida. Sounds cool. There's a part in there where the angels, as a horseman, I don't know, 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, they hold back the wind. And I previously asked the AI, where does the Bible talk about the wind stops at the end of time? There at the end. And it didn't know. But it's in the book of Revelations. I don't know. I remember thinking about it. I don't know if I made it on camera or not, but yeah, it's in the book of Revelations. It's the horsemen. They got different colored horses. And it talks about what they do. And then it talks about they hold back the wind at the 4 corners. And then at a different time, I was talking to my brother, and I asked him, I was like, man, you know them 2 witnesses? Like, what if that was your job? Like, what if that was your job? You have to be so in tune with God that you and a buddy are just going to be like, don't rain, or whatever, you know, and withhold the rain from the earth, you know. I mean, how big of a deal would that be? Hold back the rain. Anyway, it's a lot cooler than sitting there looking at my face. However, I don't have my mouth set up, so I had to put up my snot nose, I guess. So we are on the poverty trip. Everything's going good. We are just I loaded out my ride, so I had to get the rental, and then there was a card coming in the mail, but I decided to not use it. I'm just going to keep it to look good on paper with the bank, I guess. And then I'm just going to pay off the other one and just go with that. So I've completely tightened up. I have in place what needs to be in place. And that's just like full support the wife. Hand out the Bibles. Got a whole box of Bibles and some stories, testimony. So that's real good. A handout. I've been doing some good witnessing, and I've been receiving from God quite a bit. And you know, this phase 2. I think I have 7 phases of apocalypse for the record. I think we're just down to phase 2, like everybody noticed. And so I was brushing up on my revelation there. I don't want to add to or take away from that, of course. Does that include commentary? I mean, I don't know. I think that was said for very specific reasons that are above my pay grade. I don't know. I'm just going to do what I can to be obedient to the Father, and that requires some repentance on my part. And I feel like I've never really fully repented. So let that be a lesson to you guys out there. The more you know, the more you're your requirements increase with your level, and then the attacks from the enemy increase as well, and you know, your responsibilities increase, and you're in a very, very dark, dangerous place when you step outside of favor, you know. So there'll be seasons where you're instructed to do something from from on high, and then the instructions will change to test to see if you'll stick to it. And that's something a lot of people don't talk about. But if you'll read the story about Moses and the Ten Commandments, if you'll go back and reread that, you'll see that God told him how to conduct himself in a certain manner, and then told him again, and then in the process to do something different. And he's like, wait a minute, if I do that, then I can't do what you just told me to do. He's like, oh yeah, do what I did the first, do what I said the first time. It's the way God, in my head, like, God's like talking to Moses. He's like, do it like this, like that, like this. Do it like this, like that, like this. Do it like this, like this, like this, like this. He's like, hang on a second, I thought it was this, that, this. God's like, oh yeah. That is what I said. And if you're not from Oklahoma, you might not catch that. But them old timers, they'll kind of get you. You know what I mean? They'll tell you something, and then they'll tell you wrong on purpose to see if you notice. And that's a trait of God, and that is so cool. Really, I mean, it really is. And I remember when I seen that, I remember, for instance, after, and when I hear God's voice, He's always pretty chill. I don't, I've heard a couple elders speaking, and one asked about, he said, well, when God talks to me, it sounds very strict, very knife hand. And the other elder tuber was, he dodged the question. He was not comfortable on camera talking about that in that manner. But his response was duly noted, highly accurate. And these guys are significantly different type of fella, but obviously kinfolk. And then the way they were in agreement with each other was extremely notable. And at the core of going and doing it and doing it and going and doing for God the righteousness and leading the flock into righteousness, very complimentary. And one would make a point and the other would make a point. It was so complimentary. At one point they're like, hey, you can disagree if you want. Anyways, I was in a situation at wound up there in it was the Tulsa County Jail. David L. Moss, they call it. And I heard fast. So I was giving my cellie the food. And it's like, well, God told me fast for 3 days or whatever. And then in the midst of that, he said, go ahead and eat. So I come back to the cell and I'm eating. It was like the third day or whatever. And the cellie said, I thought he told you to fast for 3 days. I said, well, he told me to eat. And my cellie just kind of smiled. He said, yeah, he does that on the third day. This dude was so chill. He might have been an angel. This guy was so chill about stuff that he would just matter-of-factly say stuff. At one point, there was but I remember specifically, I heard the voice say, go ahead and eat. I was like, I will eat. You know what I mean? Like, don't test me. I'm going to eat, And my rebellious, I'm a moody fella, I guess, apparently. Anyways, then later I seen that again. And I remember that, God said, do it this way. I then told him different. And he's like, well, didn't you say do it this way? And he's like, yeah. Do it the way I said it first. You know what I mean? And that's a test. So that's cool. It's cool to realize that God does that. And it's cool to see how personalized that is. I mean, it's very, very personal, down to a T, the way that he will test the individuals. So anyway, when I hear it, it's generally really, it really is. Like, I guess I'm just so stubborn. I got to figure it out first, and then he shows me after the fact. That's what happens to me. You know, and that's why I think that's why my battles and my knowledge is so. It's very hard fought battles. It's very earned. You know what I mean? I mean, it could be just like simple agreement, a recognition, agreement, application. I'm sure that's how most people do it. But you know, I wind up noticing something works and then finding the biblical principles after the fact. It's going, oh, that's what that is. You know, hard way degraph strikes again. So anyways, I did make it home. I did demo the tile. I did start putting the tile back, and then apparently the acrylic, the way I put it in, it was not drying. And I had to leave, and then I had a hired man come to do the grout, and it was still wet. So he actually pulled the tile up. It's just like it was still wet. The acrylic never dried at all. So and basically at this point, you know, take a towel, wipe everything off, and then go back with grout, apparently, because the tile is not going to dry in there the way that it is put together in retrofit, which is weird. I don't know if it's just a thing of bad acrylic or what, but there's a very, very low circulation. But we had a heater and a fan, and anyway, I don't know. I had to get back to work, so that's been delegated to be completed by someone not me. So that was a giant blow to my ego, and I did not finish it. And then of course, the finishing up definitely will not be $9,000, which was the bid to actually just get it fixed right by a professional. So live and learn, keep learning. My back is killing me. I have well, it ain't killing me, but the stiffness in my legs and my buttocks is amazing. I have not got on my knees and worked for 2 days in a row in 10 years, literally. And it wasn't really that much of a tile guy to begin with. I mean, I've done some. I did a 3-story hotel in Tulsa. I guess there's 30 rooms or so, and I broke it up in stages where I would demo 3, and then you know, you got to do the different steps. So I would demo and prep, let it dry, go to the next 3, demo and prep, fall back to the first 3, set the tile, and then set the tile in the second set of 3, and then go to a third set of 3 and demo, go to a fourth set of 3 and demo, fall all the way back and grout, tile, you know, I kept adding 3 rooms at a whack for the time, because you got a demo, dry, then you got the demo and level, you know, and then do the tile, and then come back and do the grout, then come back and do the ceiling. So that's the thing. So you're back. You're in the room 4 times. So it's set of 3, move on. So I had 4 sets of 3 going at all times. And man, that guy was mad that first Friday because I charged him by the room. And I think it was just a little bathroom. You know, you got the tub and then the toilet, and I just pulled the toilet up, just tiled right around it, kept straight off the tub for the squareness. They just run it right out to the deal. So I was only cutting like maybe 6 pieces of tile. So they went pretty fast. And I got a rhythm down. And I remember he was like, "Oh, you're charging too much. You're charging too much." I was like, "What are you talking about, man? With $80 a room to put tile in the room." Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, but I didn't know he was going to do the whole hotel in 2 weeks." I was like, "Well, I mean, maybe what you can. If you owe me some, you owe me some." But them hotel owners, man, those guys, they'll pitch a nickel till the buffalo squeals for sure. And then I knew another guy out there out in Pegs. He was real tight like that too. They all got money, but I mean, they're just so tight it ain't funny. And then I've learned to be tight like that, but I give to the poor, to the churches and stuff like that. So like I did this big drop ship deal, and then I had this other situation, one of the kid folk, and then another situation popped up, and then I was going to do the gate, and it didn't work out. So there was a wish list for some kids. So I got on that deal, spent the gate money, and then turned right around, and here's like, "Oh, by the way, take off for a week after being broke down." So like, I'm just now getting paid for them breakdown weeks, and that threw everything off. So like, I'm gone for 3 weeks, but there's like a week with no check, and then 3 little checks, and then I'll get a little check this week, even though I didn't work at all. But because of the breakdowns over here, over there, and then a long weekend in Pharr, they just hit like 4, small to half a check, So they're like $1,200. They're not like $2,400 like usual. And so that's significant. You know what I mean? You get $1,000 less for 4 weeks in a row, and then I don't leave my reserves in the bank account. You know what I mean? And then typically what I'll do is I'll just run off the credit card, and then when it comes time to pay, I just pay the card off, and just run it up, pay it off. You know what I mean? And then I do that because it's big numbers. The banks seem to like that more. That opens up more credit. So like, I think I could do 6,000 on that Zelle. Just send it right straight to somebody, and buy a car or whatever, old pickup or something, motor, whatever, you know what I mean? They'll be like, "Hey, I can just sell it to you." They're like, "Can you do that?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I send them $6,000 on Zelle, and I didn't know that was a thing, that was I didn't know that it didn't work like that for other people. You see what I'm saying? So like doing the like your zip code's a big deal for your bank access and stuff like that and everything, and then like your amounts. You know what I mean? So like if you got these bills or whatever else like that, and you just take your money out, take it out, put it back in, and then make a lump payment, they like that a lot better. It really is much better. I don't know the particulars on that or why, but if your main bank account, if there's 4-digit transactions, like don't even worry about them little, $10, $12 here and there type of stuff or whatever like that. Just, there's none of that on there. Like if you get on your bank statement and everything's like 2,000 here, 1,000 over there, 3,000 over here, 4,000 over there, wherever else like that. It's it seems to be more prosperous. I just had a guy call. They were wanting to do. They said I qualified for 63 And then if I wanted to use my pickup as collateral, it was going to be like $98,000. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, I don't really have any need to do this. You know what I mean? And so that was a thing. But then that was like 2 weeks ago, right? So I'm like not sweating cash flow or money or nothing like that. I ain't been sweating it for a long time. I prayed a long time ago. I said, God, if I don't have no money, I might steal. If I have too much money, I'll do dumb stuff. So just give me enough money for today, right? Well, the way everything lined up with the breakdowns and some other stuff, and fix the shower thing came up and everything like that. So it all kind of hit at once just right. So now I'm just running off cash. And I got like $47 in my pocket. You know what I mean? And then Friday, I may or may not get a check. I think I got a little check coming. It might be like $800 or something like that. You know what I mean? And, I've told like a couple people where I'm like, man, I'm broke this week. It's like I literally have some ramen noodles, right? And I'm just going with it, right? I mean, I can fast until Friday. I mean, probably be healthier by the time I get a check to buy food or whatever like that. But I'm gonna try to make this $47 last until like next Friday. Not this one coming, but Friday after next. Which I don't think I'll make it that far. A cup of coffee's $3, you know what I mean? So, anyways, so that's what's been going on. We're going to take these TVs down here. It said 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then the paper says I got a 2-day window to deliver. So it's after 8 a.m. tomorrow, anywhere for the next 48 hours. So, of course, I want to show up directly on time, with time to go redo, to get unloaded and then go get reloaded for whatever's next. And, just kind of leave those options open, keep the wheels turning type of deal. But I'm not going to beat myself up about it. And had like an hour to do a 30-minute break. It looks like I am, I got 6 hours to the destination, so I could stop anywhere and do my break and then just roll on in there and just time waking up in time with getting there. So that's a possibility. I think I'll stop for 30 minutes and just do some jumping jacks, eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and walk around, stretch my legs. My legs hurt after the tile. I mean, it's pretty significant. I've used muscles I literally haven't used in 10 years. And I was sore the next day. I was telling my wife, I said, I don't know if I'll be able to walk tomorrow. And of course I could. It wasn't no problem. But, man, I kind of dehydrated and stuff. And that's the other thing I was going to say. I got back in the truck and we were like, all my workout stuff's in here, my weights, and then like I got some supplements and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I went home for a week, I just didn't take nothing. Okay, so here's the big takeaway. Your creatine hydrates your muscles. So I think because I went like a week without taking that stuff, and I just do like one scoop of it or whatever. And then I didn't drink any coffee. I didn't drink any of them energy drinks. I didn't take any vitamins. I didn't do nothing. Okay? Like, I got a bag of burritos from Brahms. That's like the first carbohydrates or anything like that I had. You know what I mean? So I was just eating like garbage like I used to. And then doing construction like I used to. Now, I did not put on any weight. I'm within 9 ounces leaving as I was when I showed up. So, your body adapts that. The way I feel, I am stove up in my legs. I feel every bit 50 years old. When I went home, I felt like I was 20. Okay, now can I stop the truck and go for a run? I'm fixing to find out. Yeah, I think that's what's fixing to happen. Well, maybe not. It's 88 degrees. I don't want to get all sweaty. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that anyway. I'll find me a place that's got a shower tonight. I got plenty of room to shower. So yeah, I guess I'll go ahead. I'll probably just go ahead and jog and everything and do a 45-minute break. This is showing 8:15 p.m. So I got almost a 12-hour window for the delivery, but I got my 30 minutes. I'll come off of that. So that'd make it 9. So yeah, I think I'm 11 hours ahead of schedule, but I have to do a 10-hour break and a 30-minute break. So that brings it back down to 30 minutes. It's pre-trip, pro-trip at 15 minutes. So yeah, like I'm exactly on time for the delivery. So that's good. And that is Eastern time, sweet. So check out for that. So yeah, anyway, that's what I'm doing. And I'll probably find some cool place to stop down through here. I'm going to hop off. I make these things way too long. But that's what's going on. And yeah, read Revelation. The audiobook Revelation, it's a little over an hour to listen to it. And I highly recommend it. You should remember, rev it up. 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Just think about a motorcycle, rev it up. Revelation chapter 1, 2, and 3. Tell you who he is, so you know who you're talking to. And then hear what he's got to say to the churches. It's enormous. All right, rock hill. Go get him.